The hunger for glory feeds the desire, the courage to look for a challenge, to feed your ambitions. To reach for greatness. To become the champion of champions.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the CCT Tour. You might recognize our two beautiful faces from casting some of your favorite matches, but today we're here for something a little bit different. We've already done one podcast over this tour. We had it with Beastick at the end of last year, so if you haven't watched that, make sure to go check it out. But this time, I am joined by the wonderful and illustrious Matthew Stott or Hayes. You're that way. I've pointed the wrong way. How are you doing today, my good sir?
I mean, much nicer words to introduce me there compared to when we were off camera, Grimmy, but I'm great, and it's fantastic to be here alongside you as well. Looking forward to the conversation that we have with our guest. And, you know, when I got signed to the contract here to work with CCT, one of the things I was super excited about was that podcast hosting role that was going to have to be, you know, filled by us as the podcasts come through. And I'm actually super excited to be here, so it's going to be fun to get into it.
Yeah, and without further ado, let's waste no time and let's introduce our second guest of this show, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well. They've won some of our tournaments and made deeper runs in the others. Firstly, how are you doing as well today?
Hello, guys. Hello, everybody watching this. Thank you for having me here. I'm doing well, actually. I'm chilling right now because we're not practicing, but we are preparing for next official because we are kind of busy with official games. As you know, we won a lot of tournaments. We prepared a lot even before them. So yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are that's probably one of the themes we'll come on to in a second. You guys are playing an obscene amount of games. I guess like the more you win, the more you play. So you're getting invited to more, making deeper runs in other tournaments. But looking at this show in particular, we're going to be starting off with just taking a general look at CCT. So we've got the first Studio LAN coming up in Malta, and we're going to cover some of the teams that have been doing really well. So I guess firstly, looking at just some of the teams that have done really well. Firstly, I feel like Aurora. They have been doing seriously impressive. They have come out of kind of nowhere, been together for like a few months, and went on like a 15 map win streak or like 15 series win streak.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really watch their run or anything. I just know that they changed some players or one player, SDY, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
Aurora brought in, they were the one with like Kenzie, Norway, and they with Celta, Latic, and Lackey as well. They're the guys who like got dropped from Forza, remember, like Norway and Kenzie. Lackey was a part of Entropic. And then they joined up with Celta and Latic, and they won 15 matches in a row. SDY, that's the one with Monty, right? I think. That's
Monty. Yeah, they were equally very impressive at the tail end of last year, but I haven't seen them like at all this year. I don't think I've seen them play a single official. But yeah, Aurora, they just taking a look at their results. They won the South Europe. They went flawless. They came second in the North Europe, and I assume we're going to see them in definitely a lot more tournaments coming up. But yeah, I guess Regali, have you seen them play? You haven't played them in officials, but would you have practiced against them at all?
No, we did not practice, but I feel like they are just like us. Like I remember we had a win streak of 15 or 19 as well. So yeah, basically when you are just going up, like people can anti-strat you sometimes, but like you have a lot of things on your like under your sleeves, you know. But I think that their run will stop at some point, and I don't know. They have to adapt to new things, just like a new map change, like Anubis. Are they even playing Anubis? I don't really know. Okay.
Yeah, they are. They have 100% win rate on the map, I think. If I'm not mistaken, they were finally beaten by Astralis in overtime to end their streak. The thing that like I find the most interesting about this Aurora roster is that you've got a group of players who were all cut from their previous rosters and dropped. Like Lackey was dropped by Entropic. He was the first player that they dropped, and the Alien after him. Kenzie and Norway were both dropped by Forza when they reshuffled the team. And you've got these guys who, like, you know, weren't considered to be winning parts in their former teams, who have now come together under a new org, and they've made it work so well. And I guess the lesson is that it's not like if a player gets cut, it means that he's always the problem and that he can't make it work in another team, right? Like, sometimes you just need a different combination.
Yeah. I feel like, especially from my perspective, and regardless, something I wanted to ask you as well. Like you were saying, they had a win streak similar to what you guys had. Sangala team as well. When they got formed, when Fuzi came in, they went on like a massive win streak. Do you think these are elements of like a honeymoon period?
It could be a honeymoon period. I can tell you that we didn't have a honeymoon period actually when we built up the team. Like, it was a disaster.
Oh,
at the
really?
Start. Yeah, it was. We didn't qualify to RMR. We didn't win anything. So yeah, like, we trained a lot, we practiced a lot, but it could be an honeymoon for Aurora, for example.
Kind of, I guess, should we stick on that point for a second?
Yeah,
Hayes?
like I was gonna say, because we were supposed to have this conversation a bit later, but I think we should just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Personally, so were you a bit concerned? Like, once you joined the team, because obviously the only person you knew was Cube, the coach. Were you a bit worried after you joined and you guys weren't really having like the results off the bat that you would have hoped for?
Yeah, personally, yes, because the thing with qualification to RMR, it was like impossible to not qualify in my vision. Like, I was like, how did we end up not qualifying for this one? But like, I trusted the process, kinda. I was watching how Bird is calling, Bird from Sky, you know. Like, I believed in him even before playing with him, because I know what he did with Ecstatic. So he was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. And then it was Cube, the coach. But like, yeah, I just trusted, because I've never had like a great IGL, like one known for what he can do and stuff like that. But I always trusted those IGLs and their ideas and their vision to the game. So yeah, I was just thinking, well, when we will learn how to play around me, or when he will learn how to play me in the game, then everything will make sense. And it took some time. Like, we made the team, or we built up the team in August, and we started winning in October, I think.
Yes.
That's actually very so. Like, yeah, because going back to the, I guess, talking about that IGL point, you were talking about when you were playing in Fnatic Rising. I think you did an interview with Dweg, and like the quote from that interview was, "Keve isn't using me as much as he could." How does Bird from Sky differ in that then? So, like, how does he like use you in this roster?
Like, he knows my weaknesses, but he also knows my strength points. So he's just calling around me. And on City side, like, he's basically calling me when like he sees an opportunity to use me. He likes, or I like it as well, to start up the rounds, make an entry or things like that, you know. So he's basically telling what to do, like what the opponents are doing there, and I'm just saying, well, I can open there, you know. So he's just calling after what I'm doing. But like, right now I became strong with rifle as well, so we have some small problems in the team, just like, what should I play, rifle, AVP, where should I open, what should I do, because now I feel like I can open like in many other ways. So yeah, we are trying to learn how to use me even more sometimes.
The thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game as well, so there's more depth to your game, so it's not like it also continues to evolve, right? So things are always changing, and yeah, you got to stay on top of it. I think let's bring this back. Let's talk more about the CCT, the circuit. The one thing I really would like to speak about, because we've seen a common trend now with teams that have played lots of Counter-Strike in a short period of time, like a 3 to 6 month period, and they've been able to just rocket up the rankings. Like, think of like Gambit youngsters, Regali. I think they're like one of the best examples in 2020. End of 19, how much Counter-Strike they played, and then went into the main Gambit roster and became the best team in the world, sure, like in the online era and whatnot. But you think about like Skade, they also played so much CS. Tricked were one of those teams who picked up like a stupid amount of maps in a short period of time. Sinners, and then you guys did it as well with Copenhagen Flames. Now, obviously, with the CCT circuit, there are a lot of events consistently. So what I wanted to know is, how much does it benefit you as a team to have all these officials, and how does it benefit you as a team to have all these officials constantly to be played? Because it's been proven that teams benefit a lot from that.
It benefits us a lot. Once because we are playing way better in officials than in prex, like way better, and we can actually see the mistakes we are doing. They persist in the prex as well. Because after prex we can see like the small mistakes, but in officials we can see if we are doing the same mistakes over and over again. In the demo review or just the games we lose, the way we analyze them, it's still crazy to me. Like Bird from Sky and Cube are doing a great job of telling the mistakes and stuff like that. We are learning very fast and we are practicing efficient based on how we played previous officials. I like how Bird from Sky is anti-stratting opponents. Like you are actually learning a lot, even though like you don't like myself. I'm not really anti-stratting opponents, just the other opponent, right? The yeah. So I'm just seeing what he's doing and try to kill him and stuff like that. But like I can learn a lot of how CS is being played, in other regions or the opponents are playing, just by listening to what Bird from Sky is telling us. Like it's just general learning of CS and how different people are playing it. It's nice.
Sorry. Yeah, so on that same topic then, how do you find time to practice when you're playing so many officials? Because I guess if things aren't going well in those officials, then it's not actually beneficial to be playing as many matches because you can't work on the things that you're struggling with. So how do you find that balance?
Like when we feel like we need more prex, we're just saying no to some tournaments. But like if we are still playing officials and you see on HLTV that we have game every day, is because we can handle it.
Yeah. So I guess like this podcast I'm pretty sure will come out while like I think we probably can say this now. Like you guys aren't going to be at the CCT LAN if I'm not mistaken. Like you did qualify for it for the points but you declined the invite. Is that because you guys would that be on the same theme of like you're looking for more time to practice?
Yeah, more time to practice for RMR. It's way more
Oh,
important.
okay.
And I believe that RMR, the close qualifier, is exactly in the same time as the CCT LAN tournament. I believe so.
Yes, I think
so,
because it's just next week, isn't it?
Yeah, and we would like to play from our homes, the RMR, and practice so much until that point, because we are struggling. Like, if it was to win this CCT, which we just played, it would have been nice, but we didn't, and that means we are doing mistakes, and we need more practice.
Yeah, because you lost to Astralis in the semi-finals. I guess coming to CCT, like going back to like having Astralis in the semi-finals. Do you think this is like it's still quite weird to me to see like Astralis playing in tournaments like this and how far they've dropped off. Like, do you see that roster getting back to like where it was before?
I mean, they smashed us in the last game. I can definitely see that they are coming back, but like we also played very, very poor.
Yeah.
And everything was off in the game and also outside the game, kinda like the mood, and like we were not prepared at all. Just the anti-strat, but that doesn't make sense when like we are not individually right up there, So yeah, besides the practice that we have to do until RMR, is also the like individual performance that we have to step up with. Myself, for example.
Yeah. I guess that's the end goal right now is the RMR events, everything you'll be focusing on. But just talking more about the CCT, you guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now. Have you noticed it's getting more and more difficult? The playoffs are attracting better and better teams now as the series are, gaining more attention. Feels like, the group stages, even the Swiss stages, are stacked with like strong tier 2, high level tier 3 teams. I think that's, are you feeling that level of competition with the CCT circuit?
Yeah, it's a constant improvement of the teams. Like I, as you said, officials benefit everybody. Everyone is getting better and better from CCT to another CCT. So yeah, just because we are lacking practicing, like I cannot really say that we dropped off or the opponents got better. I can't answer on that.
Okay.
But the level is getting higher.
Me?
Sorry, I'm muted. I was gonna say you were talking about how like people are obviously benefiting from CCT to CCT. Do you think there's anyone, because like there is a lot of games, like undeniably right now you've got like other tournaments going on. CCT in itself does provide a lot of teams with just constant matches. Do you think there's anyone, and like do you maybe see it in your own team at any stages that there is a struggle from just like so many games and so many times, like like very compacted?
I mean, there is a struggle, but on our team or just like watching the other teams? What do you mean?
I guess
like
a bit of
burnout
both.
almost, I think,
Yeah.
type of thing. Do
Yeah.
you feel that burnout with the grind of all the officials?
Yeah.
I think I mean we're struggling every game, I would say.
Really? Wait, so how so on that? Like, what do you mean by struggling?
I mean, we have to put like even more attention on every round. Like we are building
Yeah.
rounds. Like I personally, I didn't even think of those things when we are winning a lot. But now I'm just like overthinking sometimes even more, and I don't really like it. But it's like the beginning of winning again.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. So like I'm just more careful than I was before.
So having those like people like Bird from Sky and Cube as well, because you've played with Cube, he was your coach in Fnatic Rising. If anyone doesn't know, when you're starting to overthink, is it very helpful to have people there like them who's very experienced, just to be like, relax, slow down?
Oh yeah, like he's he's speaking nice even in the game. Like he is relaxing us, on the way he's talking, but like also on the way he was like sometimes calling or like saying stuff to us. Come on guys, the opponents are doing that. You know that you can do it. Like he's very motivational as well. And Bird from Sky is like never getting tilted. I heard rumors that you can tilt Bird from Sky and he would make loose calls or something, but that's not true actually. He's not really getting tilted in that way, and he's pushing the rounds, like he's calling good like every round. I feel like it's just us, like individual performance, I would say. Like even in in Bird's voice sometimes, like you cannot feel any fear of calling or something, but like I can feel it on myself that sometimes I take bad initiative and I don't really feel like it.
So how do you think you'd fix that then? Like, what do you think? Is it like, because like I think we can agree you are like still early on in your career. Like this is the highest you've been competitively. Do you think it's just you're like warming into it a little bit?
I mean, first of all, I'm just getting in because I just started playing full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After high school, which I finished in July, I started playing full time with this team. But like, what was your question? If I what?
Just like, do you think that you just need a little bit more experience to give yourself more confidence?
Yeah, I would say so. But you can get confidence of the games you win. I
Yeah.
believe I was very confident back then when we were winning every single tournament. But now that it kind of stopped or we are just a bit sloppy, uh, I'm relying more on Bird's calls and
Okay.
on my own skill, but not like communication wise, but just like killing them.
Hmm.
Are you like one of those grinder players who you'll practice 8-9 hours a day and then go play pugs or play facets after that? Are you somebody who just likes to play crazy amounts of Counter-Strike, or do you need your breaks from the game? You need some time away from the screen. Like which direction do you tend to go, and especially when you're struggling, like what's your go-to?
Yeah. So as you said, especially when I'm struggling, I'm grinding a lot after officials. I'm playing deathmatch, watching some demos of favorite players, playing Face It, but not right now because I just set myself in this new city, this new setup.
Hmm.
But usually, yes, I'm grinding a lot of Face It, like a lot, a lot. So yeah, because I'm playing for fun. But
Yeah.
as long as I'm playing for fun, everything is good. So as I said, if we are struggling in tournaments, the mood in the team is very important. So I really want to play CS after a long preg day. That would be nice. That's the best case.
Okay.
For example,
For me,
today Sorry for interrupting, but for
No
example,
problem.
today we have no prex, but like I will grind face it because tomorrow we have official. So like there's no stop,
That's a
Just
very
keeping
good.
yourself warm.
Yeah, that's a very good work. Like that's like best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
I think let's pivot the conversation now to the next stage of the interview or the podcast, which was just talking generally about the CS:GO landscape, just getting your idea and your take on the international scene and the happenings of the world. So I think the first thing we should talk about here, which is incredibly relevant to you right now, which you've spoken about extensively in terms of being your big goal personally. I'm sure it's the massive goal for the team right now. You guys obviously failed to qualify for the previous RMR, and now we've got the next opportunity coming up in like a week, basically. So it's just around the corner. Now there are, it was previously announced just to be the one RMR, which obviously gained a huge amount of attention, and a lot of people were very upset about that. And then there were changes made, and I really like that about the Counter-Strike scene. It feels like often when there is a bit of outrage, like there are changes that are made, like the tournament organizers hear the community and they make the changes needed. So firstly, just speaking about shifting from the one RMR to the two, is that something that, I mean, goes without saying, but you guys very happy with that?
Yeah, more chances, so it's nice.
Yeah, like I said, not too much to say about that.
Yeah,
Except,
I'd
why not?
say making like devil's advocate. If you qualify for the major, say if you go all the way through, so like say if you qualify through the second open qualifier and then you have to play the closed qualifiers, you have to play pretty much like a week straight of just CS. Like nothing else, of just constant, like it's a very compact schedule. Like you start on Monday for the first open qualifier, and then you've qualified by Thursday, and you have no breaks. You just have straight just CS, and you're probably going to be playing like 15 officials, like back to back to back, plus other games that you have to play, plus DM and demo reviews. Like that's a lot of CS. Like they surely could have planned that a little bit better, no?
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And then those DM servers are going to be full every single time. Oh, but yeah.
But I mean, this is where, like, for a team like you, where you guys are used to playing a huge number of officials, this is, going to be giving you guys a bit of an edge going into those days of competition. You know what it's like to play 2, sometimes even 3 best of 3s in a day. Like, obviously, that's the worst case scenario, but it's not, not something you wouldn't have come across before. Do you think that gives you guys a bit of a benefit going into these qualifiers?
Yeah, it does. It's more time to practice.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, looking at qualifiers and teams that you'd think that'd be like very difficult to come against, because I remember I was always talking to players and they'd say that like it's very difficult to play against some of these puggier types of opponents because you can't prepare for them. You sit in a server and you're up against 5 players with just full confidence. Do you think that's something that you benefit on? Like, how do you guys find that you play without the ability to have Bird from Sky anti-stratting beforehand? Because you've already said that it's really like it's a valuable thing having Cube and Bird from Sky prep for the games. Now that you can't prep for games because you're just straight like back to back to back, you're going into a new game blind. Do you think that benefits you, or do you think that hinders you?
It does not benefit us. We relied a lot on anti-strat, basically on what Bird is calling. He fits with every opponent. But this is why I bring up a lot the topic of individual performance. Like we really have to be on point. Even those pistol rounds, like they count a lot. So,
yeah, the rounds after converting the pistol round proven to be a equally as important as well as winning the pistol round, and that's become so difficult as well. Just with the way that force buys are happening, it's just there's barely any free rounds in Counter-Strike now. Okay, Grimmy, moving it forward here. I guess
what about Tricked?
Yeah, that's why I think we could go next with this. I'm sure Regali, being a part of the Danish CS:GO scene now, you would have you heard the news about Tricked closing their doors? Is it the whole org that's shutting down here? I mean, I saw their statement, but it was in Danish, so I just kind of had to make inferences.
I guess Regali, you'd probably from my interpretation, the org just doesn't have enough money.
I don't really know anything because I'm not really interested on what's happening outside of our organization. Like I've read some things on Twitter and I was like, yeah, well, next topic.
Cool.
Like, yeah, and they were not that good in the end. Like, I remember we always beat them. I might be mistaken now, and then they will
Yeah, I
jump
think
on
you
me.
would have.
But yeah, like it doesn't really matter to me. I haven't researched anything. They were kind of good.
Yeah. It felt like they had potential to me. Like that Trick team, it felt like maybe like 3-4 months ago, that was when they actually needed to capitalize on their opportunity and break into like the top, 40 teams type of thing, top 30 maybe, and actually start to make a name for themselves. But anytime it came to like the opportunity where they got to prove themselves, that's when they would just like fall short. So there was always potential with that team, but it felt like it was never actually realized. I don't know. That's how I felt, Grimmy. What did you think about Tricked?
I think Tricked personally are a good team, but I think like with the organizing, like it just they had Prime, who's definitely improved a lot since being on that roster. Like I remember we were talking to B-Stick about it. He was saying how he's really impressed with Prime. I think Lucky's coming a little bit more in form. I liked the addition of Nodios, but I think what's difficult about this roster now is not just like the team itself, but the fact that the organization has had to close doors. That's just kind of scary to me. Like the fact that like it's evident that in esports there's a bit of a bubble, and like there's loads of money coming in, and not everyone has that amount of money. So Tricked are already like a very early sign of like a legit organization that just doesn't have this millionaire backing. They can't keep up with the salaries. Which organization is going to be next? Like, are we just going to have organizations this year trail out of esports because they just don't have the money?
I mean, I think that's what's going to happen, just with the global standings economically, it's brutal, and it has been. And now I'm no economist, and I don't have the knowledge to give a take on it. But it is obvious that orgs are going to be closing their doors. We've seen it, coming up here or there already, and this is another one close to home. Regali, any thoughts on that, or do you want to just move on?
I mean, I don't have any thoughts on that, but bringing up Prime, as you said, like he improved a lot. Like it was a team that was improving again from official to official. They were on the right path, but unlucky with the organization. I don't really know anything about what's happening on Danish scene at all, or any teams that are just moving on and on. But as you said, yeah, it's like a bubble, so there might be investors and stuff like that are going to bring up 5 or 6 players and create something for RMRs or big tournaments, but like I don't really know. I'm not into that at all, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. So let's lighten the conversation a little bit here. Let's talk about the newest map added. Obviously, Anubis has come into the pool here, Regali, and it kind of feels like it's been fairly well received, in my opinion, at least for the most part. I even said on a broadcast the other day that it feels like it's actually the most complete we've seen a map since it was directly added to the pool. Like, do you remember Vertigo, how many changes there were to the map when it came into the pool? Ancient was changed quite drastically as well. So it feels like Anubis actually doesn't have a huge amount of changes that need to be made to the identity of the map. I know you guys haven't played it a huge amount. You've only played it twice, lost it both times again as well. So, maybe you've got a bit of a different take on the map, but what are your thoughts just off the bat?
I mean, we played one tournament. It was not on HLTV. We won the final against Skate, or 500 as they are called now. Thoughts on the map from my role, to be honest, it is T-sided, first of all. Like, it's way easier to kill on T-side and to execute. Like, cities must give up a side if T's are executing, unless they are just gambling with more numbers on a side. That's the first point. And second, like as an opper on city side, then you gotta be lucky to be where T's are coming, because it's so hard to retake. I feel like, especially on A side, it's so hard to make entries on city side with op. I feel like the opper is getting activated mid round, late round. If you are an opper like me who can rifle as well, it's very nice to play on T side. I remember I had one game against Sangal. I think I had like 20 kills at half, but like 18 of them were with rifle, and like I was one tapping. I was just going and flying with AK, basically no clipping, like smashing people with AK. I was like, what is happening? but it's so T-sided. I like every single pick is right-sided if it makes sense. So you can just
Yes.
entry frag, what more? You can always like search with the op on T side and get one kill. But I like it. I like the skyboxes as well because my team, they really know how to throw nades. So they are creating
The
space with
Danish special.
yeah. They're creating space with nades for me, for the others as well. I don't really have to throw nades, and that's what I
Oh,
like.
perfect. That's the best case
The
scenario.
only AWPer in the world right now who doesn't have to be the one throwing a lot of util. Like,
Yeah, that's nice.
So, do you think that it's a problem that the map is as T-sided as it is? Or do you like that it's actually just something different? That it's like, yeah, we actually have a map now where it is T-sided and it's more difficult on the CT side and doesn't necessarily follow the traditional suit of the rest of the maps?
I like it actually, because then you see how good the Opera is, or how the IGL is using the Opera. Because I can tell you that I'm really being used by Bird on this map. Like we really have some good plays. Um, yeah, me and him.
So is
'Cause
that because on the
yeah.
CT side, sorry, Grimmy, that you don't need to be, on the CT side, the AWPer gets more freedom to do what he wants to do. You're saying on the T side, that's where you really get tested as an AWPer because it's not as easy to just go sit somewhere, hold an angle, get a kill, fall back, get a kill.
Yeah. On city side, like you get the freedom you get on any other map. It's just by intuition and stuff to be where you have to be, or
Yeah.
based on anti-strat. But like, yeah, it can always go wrong. But on T side, as I said, you really have to bring up initiative on yourself as an opper to search some angles, because as I said, it's way easier to search on T side on this map. You just need to be good either with rifle or AK, because rifle or op, because there are some tight angles like canals on or I don't really know the names in English. So yeah, pop dog or down there, on Anubis.
Yeah.
Is
Like
it
you,
the
yeah,
water, the
yeah,
water
the
to
water
be?
thing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we call it canals as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
yeah. Like there are
Call it
some oppers
cave.
that are only holding that cave thing, and they
Yeah.
are being very static. But like you cannot win the game like that.
Okay, that's actually, yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I see like a very default thing would be AWPers just to hold, like, the hold there pretty much, and they
Yeah.
hold the water. So I think we were talking about, in my perspective, having control of water is like really important as like T side, and if CT side takes it, it's like that's a lot of impacts that you can. There's a lot of space in the map you can take from that. But so would you compare the map a little bit to Inferno on the CT side of like gamble stacking and hard to retake?
Yeah, definitely. I would do it one on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then not on T side, because it feels like all pick on T side on Anubis seems a little bit easier.
It is easier based on angles, but
Yeah.
I feel like we can play 5 rifles and still win on T side, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, because it's very interesting. Because like I guess like just thinking about Vertigo, like you can just peek into B with the AWP, but you're probably guaranteed a kill, right? Like
Yeah.
there's you just clear each angle by itself, and then have someone like holding the close left, and you're pretty much grand. Like you'll probably get a pick off that. And so like do you? I was going to talk about the T side and the CT side. Do you think the more we get into the map, it will become less T side?
Yeah, I mean, there will be some aggressive plays from city side where T's are going to be killed or just give up the space, because that's all about the Anubis thing. T's can be everywhere, basically, and the city sides, you really need to lock down some sides of the map, because there's that thing with canals or water. Like
Yeah,
people are really lurking there as T's
yeah.
and get space very easily. And it's just the connection between A and B as T's. You just run over water and get like space.
Seconds pretty much. You can control the map very easily.
Yeah.
And I guess like with talking about Bird from Sky and how he uses you, how do you think he uses you in comparison to other IGLs using their orbs? Like, have you noticed that like, oh, we're doing this really well that other teams aren't?
Well, it depends. First of all, he really believes in my skill, and sometimes he's saying, like, sometimes he's doing some calls like only like robots could do, or like some plays that I really need to commit to and like believe in myself, believe in the call, believe in everything, and just destroy, and create space again. But like sometimes as well, he's jumping for me, he's dying for me just to be there. And I feel like there are not that many IGLs in tier 2 that are just running for the upper and just jumping, flashing. Like he's helping me with everything in the game.
It feels like having him on your team along with Cube as the coach as well. It's going to help you guys progress on Anubis because of the challenges, especially on the CT side. It's going to require a lot of innovation, right? A lot of gimmick plays because there's like no control for free for the CT side. You're like locked into the bomb sites, and it's so easy to force the CTs back when they're aggressive with like a basic flash. So it's going to be interesting to see the innovation that comes through on the CT side. And I feel like that's obviously one of the strengths of Bird from Sky and Cube as well, is to find ways to make things happen. So I think that's going to be exciting once you guys have more time after the RMR to like grind the map out and, figure out inspiring setups and ways to make it work on the CT side, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love watching Anubis because it feels like every single official teams are changing. Like there's no one that's had consistent, like I've watched teams go like literally 2 days before they lost 16-3 on the map. 2 days later they're winning 16-3 on the map. Like it's such a random, and I think having it in like an open qualifier right now is going to be so interesting to see, like, because I've seen a lot of teams are struggling with the addition of it with the map pool, and they haven't like quite figured out their map pool. I'm guessing you're a team that have kind of figured that all out, and you're not too uncomfortable with changing up your pool.
I mean, we know our map pool. We know how good we are on every map we play. But I'm just saying that it's very risky for every single team to play Anubis in a qualifier, because first of all you need to like adapt, and it's up to everybody to adapt, because as I said, you always want to start city side like on every other map, right? But you just know that it's way stronger on T side. So you are just playing on somebody's or opponent's like way of like
So you're playing
style.
like their game at first.
They are controlling the game
yeah
in the beginning, and it's not nice to play like that.
I was gonna say, do you think you ever want to start on the T side then?
It's up to Bird and Cube if we would ever play Anubis.
The thing is it's a bit rough for you guys, Regali, because obviously Mirage isn't a map that you guys play, right? That's your permaban, pretty much. So you kind of forced into learning Anubis and figuring it out, because Dust 2 is a map that you guys did play and you were decent at, and you didn't really have a choice to bring Anubis into your pool now because of Mirage, which is a bit of a frustrating one, I suppose, for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of, but like it's just I am scared to play it because I don't know how I'm going to perform. We still have to again come with innovation and create stuff that works, that you just know it works. Just like we have on other maps. But how are we going to test that? Because I feel like we only have one tournament left till RMR.
Yeah.
We cannot really fix mistakes if there are two.
I mean, another thing I'd like to speak about, and this is just like my opinion and take, and maybe I'm a bit off the mark, but from the games I've cast and the games I've seen, and I've actually been casting a lot of Bird from Sky for a while now, like back in the Lingby Vikings days before Ecstatic even. He's always been an IGL who's given a lot of space. It's quite a free setup, there's lots of moving parts. He likes to work as a pack as well, like 4 guys and, working together, 3 guys working together. I don't know if that's necessarily the strength of Anubis, though. It kind of feels like Anubis is more an exec-based map as well. So do you think that that's something that might be a bit of a challenge for you guys to overcome?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how we are playing individually as well, because I don't know. Like, I cannot really get into a topic where like Bird from Sky is just controlling everybody. To be honest, sometimes I have no idea what he's calling, but sometimes it works. And I'm
you just do it and you're like, oh, it worked.
How? I don't know. Yeah.
That's bizarre. I've never heard anyone say that before about an IGL. Like, it's so. How does does he like? I've never heard that about a team before. Where it's like the IGL has like that much, like I guess domination over the team. Because you guys have 3 IGLs technically in the squad when you form the team.
Yeah.
You have like, do they have voices as well in the team, or is it just Bird from Sky?
Their voices, they call what is happening on their side of the map.
Yeah.
Bird from Sky is like calling the last one.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get like, so they're like, he's using them. So like on the T side, I guess you have them split around the map. So Bird from Sky has like one IGL on the other side, and then everyone else. So like, that's actually yeah. I've never really like figured that what. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. But I guess wrapping up this title.
Yeah, can I
and this
say
section,
one more thing?
yeah?
Like it regarding the 3 IGLs, like it became
Yeah.
easier for some time right now. As I said, those 2 other IGLs, they are calling what is happening on their side of the map. And for example, TMB is calling me and only me, and is just saying, "Come hold him, you'll kill him," you know. And Bird from Sky is
Oh,
just
okay.
focusing on his side of the map. But like after an entry kill or something, is starting to talk more and more and more.
So early round, it's more
Defaults.
Yeah, early round you have like people doing their own thing, and
Yep.
you have like what you've practiced, and then when you go later in the stage, when it's like, oh, Bird from Sky has this read of this happening on this map.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And then so was that like I remember you said before at the very beginning when the team first formed, you were like it crashed and you were like, oh, this is like I'm nervous. Were you like a bit skeptical when like you had 3 IGL signed and you were like, what is this roster?
I was a little bit. Maybe that's one of the reasons we were losing a lot, because there were a lot of the ideas from those 3 IGLs. Like everybody had an input, and everybody had to still believe in Bird from Sky because he was the main caller, as he is right now. So yeah, like it was a lot of time to practice for, and we didn't have that time. Yeah. But
would sorry, yeah, continue.
yeah, I was skeptical. Yeah. Before signing, yeah, I was.
Okay. Would you say that Bird from Sky has like quite a micromanaging style in terms of what he wants you to do in the mid round? Just because he's got this crazy vision in his head, he's almost like a mastermind genius, right? Like you said, sometimes you don't even know what he's calling or what the end goal is, but he has this vision in his head. He's mapped it all out. He knows exactly what you need to do for the vision to take effect. Does he have a bit of a micromanaging style where he'll tell you exactly what you need to do when you need to do it for his vision to work?
Yeah, he's micromanaging till the point where everything fits his vision. For example, if we are losing one man and we are 4-on-5, he's trying to micromanage some other people doing some mistakes in Bird's head. But like everybody has an intuition how to play the game where we are outnumbered. So like, yeah, he is micromanaging, but like he would like to not do it, but he never stops. But his micromanagement is nice. Like there is nobody in the team saying shut the fuck up or something. Like he is calling good.
Okay.
The thing is that he, let's be honest, he's not the best skilled
individual.
Player. Yeah,
he doesn't want to. He won't want to hear you say that.
Enough, right?
Yeah.
And my intuition sometimes is telling me, "Come, do that kill, do that flick, do that." But like he's trying to put me in a smarter way on the map, where I should get more kills, more easier, even though I am capable of doing some sick flicks and do some other things. And when I'm starting to go towards A and he's thinking, no, just stay B, he's telling me, no, stay B, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always important that he does have the end say at the end of the day. Like, you can't have everybody with their own ideas, thinking what needs to be done. Everybody needs to be committed to the same idea and committed to the same page. So I think that's important. Now, obviously, Bird from Sky, pretty much your entry fragger, even though that role's a bit outdated. Like, he goes in first so often. He's the guy's like jumping around the corner. He's also often taking initiative, right, Regali? Like, if he sees a gap on the T side, like, he's going to try and push. He's going to make the play. Sometimes he just ends up in the craziest positions. He reminds me a bit of Art that way, to be honest. So is that built in to play out the 4v5s because sometimes he has got that like crazy play style where you'll lose that early pick for you guys. Obviously, he creates a lot of winning scenarios as well, but live by the sword, die by the sword. Has it become something you guys are familiar with and used to win out those rounds 4v5? If he does go down early.
Yeah, because it went good a lot of times, so we got used to it, and we still believe in what he's calling.
Yeah.
Even though even though we would like to not have any 4v5s in the early rounds, especially not on like players that should be just hiding or camping on just chilling on the map. So like we would like to have those trade-offs as fast as possible. Like no 4v5s, maybe 4v4s would be even better, because it matters so much to Bird on what numbers are on the map. He's calling he's calling fast. Like he's saying like, come on, do it fast. Timing, stuff like that. It's crazy.
So like big reactionary style of CS,
Yeah,
yeah. So is that sometimes hard that you have to be switched on like 24/7? Like he says something and you have to be there like seconds.
If we would be seconds there, we would win so many more games. So we're still we are on that path, yeah. It would be nice, yeah, to be there.
So is that where you're then like kind of chilling for a little bit, practicing, just like almost getting down that like specific stuff of just being like, he says something and you got to trust it? Because I guess, as you were saying, like when you were winning you were more confident, and like naturally you would be, because you guys you still came top 4 at the event. Like you still did well, like in the last CCT. Like you only lost, like you lost to Astralis, who are theoretically a tier 1 team, but it's still like losing. So do you find when he gives a call and you're not winning as much, you're not as confident in his call?
Well, again, it depends, because the game against Astralis, especially second map, Ancient, like we lost it because we were so bad individually. Lost every single duel, right? Of course, I got a bit sad because at the end of the game, the end of the series, I felt like I didn't do my best. Like there are games where we are losing and I still feel like I did my best, but I didn't feel like it in the game of Astralis. And why? Because I didn't do my peaks. I didn't play how I really wanted to. I played how Bert wanted me to play. It felt bad, but I still believe in Bird. Like in the next games, I will still play how he says so, how he anti-strats the opponents, where should I play it the most. Even though when we are losing so hard, I feel like we need a hero play. Sometimes he's coming with those hero plays, and it's most of the times me that is trying to do them. So again, a point where he's using me again and my skill. But now back to the team, like the others are helping me as well in the process, even though Bird is calling to do so, or they are just helping me with their own initiative. For example, Boru Prals, they are really jumping for me as well in some other plays, or just flashing for me and stuff like that, backing me up. But yeah, back to the point of the losing thing. Like we didn't lose confidence in his calls. We just lost confidence in our style of playing.
Something you mentioned before when you spoke in a previous interview, you mentioned that you guys had played against a lot of tier 2 teams, but you hadn't really been tested against tier 1 opponents. You guys obviously beat Astralis. I think the first time that you played against them, that was last year. Then you lost to them now. So what's your take on that situation now that you guys have like leveled up and you've played against some of the best players in the world in the times gone by? Obviously, Astralis a little bit lower in the pecking order now than where they were. But what's your take on your guys' level, or your game level, against higher level teams now that you have got some experience against them?
I mean, we practiced a lot against tier 1 teams. For example, Cloud9. We practiced every single day against them. And watching the pracs and how it went, like it went better than last year, for example. Like we are playing better in practice games than we played last year. So I feel like we are really on the right path. It's just those small tweaks we do in officials. But
So
we leveled
what
up.
would they be then? I guess like what would those small like problems you have in officials?
It must be the confidence in officials. Because because we are not on the top level.
Yeah.
But we are playing better in Prex.
Yeah, I mean, you earlier you spoke about how last year you guys were playing better in officials than you were in Prax. Now you're saying you're playing better in Prax, and it feels like you guys haven't been in the same form in 2023 that you were towards the end of last year. You know, maybe struggling against teams that you used to beat consistently or losing matches that you wouldn't have before. Are you feeling like, I wouldn't say you guys are in a slump? Maybe, you know, the expectation is so high that people will be a little bit like rough and brutal just because you were winning out you guys like sped run tier 2 last year. So are you guys feeling any pressure, you know, in terms of your results at the moment?
No, not at all, because we started the year very bad in terms of prex as well. Like we didn't really practice that nice, that efficient.
Okay.
They were like bad prex. But once we started playing officials, we tightened up and said like, come on, let's practice for real and efficient, and let's do it like we used to do it.
Yeah.
And now everything is getting back to normal. Even better, as I said, again, prex are going to be even better.
Because I'd say like the one failure was the IEM Brazil Open qualifier, right? Like that was probably something that you guys would have hoped to have qualified for, even maybe expected to qualify for. You know, you look at Honorus and Nine, the two teams who qualified through the second opening qualifier or open qualifier. And in the first one, it was Heat and Monty. You know, you guys definitely consider yourselves capable of beating those teams, if not better than them.
Yeah, we did.
So a bit unfortunate there not to qualify then.
Yeah, it was unlucky. But again, until those qualifiers, the prex were being very bad.
Okay, I see. So it kind of fell under that bracket then. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just after we tightened up.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, so looking for like the RMRs, are you because I remember you were saying last time that the RMR, like you expected to win it, that was you expected to qualify through the RMR through the open qualifiers. Is that the same case now?
Yeah.
So then what happens if you don't?
I don't want to think about it.
No, that's brutal.
That's because it's like, would that like shift then? Like, do you think there's ever a chance that you guys would look at that and be like, this is not working, we need to change something up?
I don't really want to think about it.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
What is the goal looking through the RMR though? Because surely qualifying for the RMR is like the first step. You know, I'm sure you guys would even back yourself to make it through the RMR to qualify for the major itself. Or have you looked further ahead than just the RMR, or right now are you just focused on getting to the RMR itself?
I'm just focused to getting on RMR.
Okay.
In Copenhagen. Yeah.
I guess that's probably the reason for like canceling off like because the Langs is like the RMR is like the thing right now. That's like what everyone's looking towards. It's just unfortunate with the conflict of the scheduling. And I guess I want to go back to a topic that I was talking to, I messaged Hayes, we'll come back to it. You said at the very beginning that you were like, what Bird from Sky does in the demos. I think your exact words were, it's crazy what he does. So is there any way you can expand on that? Or is it literally just like you sit there and you're like, how has he done this? Because you were saying like he goes to demos and he just finds these like things and like does these things like it's robotic.
It's just his way of analyzing the games.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to me that is happening in tier 2. Like I've never seen how tier 1 teams or orgs are doing it, but I feel like this is tier 1 material. The way he's doing it, you know, like he's very structured. It's very disciplined. Like you cannot really blame the anti-strat if we are losing. There are other things, you know.
Yeah.
He's doing top level work before the games, and not only him. Again, Cube is also doing it.
Speaking about some of your other teammates, I think the one player I'd like to talk about the most is Borup. Now, obviously, he's a storied player, right? Like he's competed at tier 1 before, was part of a heroic. Like he's been a part of the Danish scene for a very long period of time. I think quite a few people wrote him off actually in terms of, you know, his ability. But it feels like he's really, very comfortable in the team. He's still playing that hard lurk role on the T side, anchor role on the CT side. He's taking up really rough roles and positions in the team, but he's doing a really good job of it. So, a few words on Borup as a teammate and what you've made of him since you've joined, because you mentioned in the other interview you knew nothing about him, but now that you've played a few months, what are your thoughts?
He is way better now than he ever was. Like right now, I feel like he's on his peak form. Maybe because he got used to it. Maybe because he changed roles again in the team on some maps. Yeah, his aim is on point. Like we're doing some jokes that his aim is just like how it was on Heroic, because he's number one. Because yeah, he was number one with Heroic. So yeah, I really like him. I really got close to him in boot camps. Like we talked a lot. Yeah, like there's nothing that much to say actually.
Just good. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
very
good.
good. And like
he's someone who's keen to sacrifice a lot as well, for the team.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And then I guess looking at like your past teams and some of the past teammates you would have had, do you find the fact that you're playing with someone like Borup as an example, you rely on your teammates more, like you're more down to go for these, like, okay, I'm gonna go for an opening pick. If I die, I've still got Borup alive. And did you have that? Like, you might have not had that before.
That's interesting, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like right now with this team, I feel like I can take risky plays or risky picks and still feel like they can do something out of nothing again if I'm dying, because people are good, like sometimes insane in this team. Like when everyone is hitting shots, it's like we are very good.
Yeah.
And again, Bird from Sky is good at adapting. But yeah, right now the meta just changed. I feel like the oppers are just more passive.
Yeah.
I feel like in the start of the round.
Thanks, James.
Yeah. Oh, well, like
Shiro, James, yeah.
Because me and Hayes were talking about this earlier. We were like, you tend to like at some stages in the meta, you just had like aggressive, passive, but now it's like, and I was talking to Fuzi about this a lot. It's just like mixed. Like there's no like you can't be one or the other. You have to be very versatile. And I guess is that where you shine over some others, because you have Bird from Sky being like, do this, do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also the thing with rifle again. Like I can really
just mixing it up, and just like are there any teams then that you'd see that don't do that? Like, are there any AWPers that you'd look at and be like, they're not being used, or they're not versatile enough?
Yeah, I mean there are AWPers from tier 2 that I don't even anti-strat, because I know how bad they are and how passive and how static they are.
Name drop.
But yeah, I mean there are teams that are really structured around entry fraggers, or just players like Prime, for example, from Trick, that is just doing his own thing and he creates space, and we need to be careful on that. But again, anti-strat works out.
Yeah.
I still want to keep picking about your teammates and just getting some thoughts, because there was one concern I had for your team when you guys formed, and it was that I thought that there might not be enough fragging power on your roster. Maybe not enough star players or enough players to bridge that mechanical gap. And I kind of kept saying on the cast that it felt like Rawls had to be one of the players who would stand up into one of kind of like a star player role. And it actually feels like he's been doing a really good job of that. He was in Sprouts and he was calling there as well, I think. So he's like let the reins loose a little bit and been able to focus on his own game. Would you say Rawls is one of those players who has stepped up to, account for a bit of the fragging gap in your team, and, he's been able to elevate his game?
Yeah, I mean, there are some games where like he's actually destroying as a rifler, but like there are some games where he's not really that on point, and the mood is not that good sometimes. But we are still trying to work as a team and hype up each other and help each other. But yeah, he's balancing firepower wise, but I feel like Borup is more instant than everybody else.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it feels like his first bullet accuracy and like crosshair placements on Borup is insane.
Yeah.
And then TMB, and his role as the rifler, I'm not expected to be the crazy fragger, but still a young player with some potential there.
Yeah, well, that's a thing where roles wise we're trying to change now, because he's so good with nades and calls, and he knows what to do in certain situations. And sometimes he's really calling, like when he feels like he needs to be loud and clear and he has a read, like he's really calling loud over Bird, and Bird is just not talking when Thomas or TMB is doing that.
That's very interesting. So, like, when you mean changing roles, do you mean changing him like around the map, or like what do you mean by that?
No, but like we had some things like who's throwing the nades. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it should be TMB that is throwing the nades, but I'm not leaking anything.
Okay. That actually does, yeah. So like, does Bird from Sky potentially get like, because you were saying with Bird from Sky being so micromanaged, I was like, my first thought there was because when you said that was like, you've got two other IGLs coming into the roster. I can't imagine they're happy about being like, oh, I have to change what I want to do about the game and listen to one person. Does Bird from Sky sometimes get that when TMB's like, I'm calling now, like I've got an idea? Do you think he goes like, hold on a second, like I'm the IGL?
It depends, because if it's from spawn or just in a tactical timeout or while we play the default and everybody's alive, Bird from Sky is tweaking TMB's call or just basically saying no, let's do other thing.
Okay, so it's like the final say is Bird from Sky.
But again, yeah, coming back to that reaction gameplay we have, like in that reaction, if TMB is calling very fast and very loud, we are like following his call. If Bird from Sky hasn't called already.
Yeah, you need to have that faith in your teammates, right? You need to be able to give them that leeway and trust, because that's how you build relationships, and you build confidence as well. You want to have everybody with that ability to make a read and then make a decision that the whole team just follows through with. As soon as you start questioning people, then they second guess themselves, and that creates a bit of an unhealthy, I don't know, energy for a player in a team. I think you want everyone to trust one another. It's really like it's crazy, the relationship building that it comes into a successful team, right? Regali, it's not just about being good in the game, but you need to really be able to work well with the people around you and understand the individuals. Is that something you've noticed a lot more of from your time in Fnatic Rising, where you had 5 different nationalities, like a completely different mix of players coming together, compared to now where you've got the one nationality, essentially, the one nationality in Copenhagen Flames? Have you noticed there's a lot more focus on the relationships in the team?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we are all about the mood and how we start the day and the jokes and everything we are doing. Like, it's so important to have a good communication on anything. Yeah, I've realized that quite recently, that they love to have communication on anything. They appreciate the friendship relationship we have, the friendship we have. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something I was talking to a few teams recently. It's actually a theme I've seen a lot more of, being like the vibes have to be good in the team, and people sometimes even like not necessarily getting the better player, but getting someone that they know would fit better in the system and just like actually actually like build upon. And it's like you mentioned communication there. It was something we were going to speak about going into this one. So like, do you find with your level of communication, you're sometimes like outspoken because there's so many voices in the server?
Well, yeah, they are constantly speaking, but when I'm talking, they are listening, because I'm not talking that much, first of all. But when I'm talking, I talk for a reason.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah.
And elaborating a bit more on the communication issues, obviously in the other interview that I've referenced a few times now, where you spoke with Neo, you mentioned that you've identified that communication is the one aspect of your game that you need to work on, because going from tier 2 to tier 1, it's not so much about the mechanical gap at that point. You've got guys in like the top 50th, 40th team who have just got insane aim, but what makes them different from the guys in the top 10 is that the communication is a different ball game entirely. So has that been difficult for you to try and improve on? Are you feel like you're making strides? What are your thoughts on that whole communication conversation for you in particular? Trying to bridge that gap to tier 1.
Yeah, I feel like I improved a lot, and I feel like I'm improving. Again, on officials, I can see it better, because it's on officials I care the most. I'm tryharding the most. Yeah. I just started doing it in Prex as well, but in Prex there are a lot of other things I want to learn and I want to practice. But yeah, it's good to create a habit of communicating every time. Prex, official, face it. But yeah, I improved a lot.
I know it's a broad conversation, but could you just try and like put your finger on one thing in terms of the big difference in terms of communication in the tier 2 space and the tier 1 space? Just to give you a reference, I know you mentioned that like you can't just say, oh, there's 2A. You have to know what to do with that information and then communicate that to your team, right? It's not like just relaying facts, but you have to process it yourself and then relay it.
Yeah. You have to give like the best possible way of communication. And that being said, is all about initiative, like what to do if they're 2A, because Bird is not going to say anything to an initiative coming from me, for example, if I'm in a prime position and I have the read and stuff. It's just maybe saying timing, do it faster,
Yeah.
But nothing else. Maybe suggesting to smoke a spot, but nothing else.
And have you found that now that you're focusing more on your communication, that it's maybe made your reactions a little bit slower because you've had to stop and think like, okay, how do I relay this? How do I communicate this? And then maybe you're a little bit slower to make your plays in the server?
No, it never happened because we are so good at helping each other. And people can talk for others. Borup is doing it the most. Like sometimes he's spectating me and he's talking for me, or maybe giving more details than I would have, because I'm so focused on my crosshair as well. But it's nice. Sometimes it's not that nice because he's suggesting stuff that I should do when I can just use my mechanical skill. But again, people are not really used to of what I can or what I'm capable of.
Yeah. I guess looking like we're on the conversation of tier 1. I so with NIP opening their like AWP spot and Head Trick joining, from a public's view and also from my view, to be honest, I actually thought that you'd be potentially the first on call there. Do you think you'd be like ready for that type of call up? And do you think your communication and like parts of your gameplay would be like ready to play at, for instance, like a Katowice?
I mean, that was public as well, that I was in talks with Nip.
Yeah.
I was ready, but I was honest as well. Like I told them my weaknesses, like my weakness points, because I didn't really want like to be fake,
Yeah.
and say, well, I'm so good at communication, I might be just your IGL because I'm communicating so much, like that type.
Yeah.
No, like I really said how I am as a player,
Yeah.
If I lied, maybe I would have been there, but
But it's in your best interest as well, because the thing is that like if you do lie and you end up there and you can't make it work, then you're going to get drowned out, and then there goes your opportunities in the future, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, but I would have been ready for Katowice, individual wise, I feel like.
I know this is going to sound like a really dumb question, and I've spoken to a few people about this, and I've got mixed responses of being like, obviously with Copenhagen Flames, you guys are genuinely doing like really well, and you're on an upward trajectory. Like you're 24th in the world right now. That you're probably going to be starting to hit these events in, if not the middle part of this year, maybe even the early part of this year. Is there like any part of you, if you did get that offer from NIP, you turned around and been like, I actually want to stay here at Copenhagen Flames?
Uh, it's the exposure you get in NIP, but also, yeah, I mean, I'm very young. I should not think about financial stuff, but like that's a
You
huge
have
gap.
to sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, like you really have to, when there's a point in life where like you feel like you don't have enough, But if I could bring Bird from Sky, yeah, I mean, you cannot really compare the exposure from NIP to any other tier 2 team.
But do you think you maybe, if anything, actually, because like you're saying with Bird from Sky, like he's like the IGL for you, and that's normally how I think. Like when we spoke to Beastick, he was saying like with Neofrag, there was just some things that they couldn't teach him. Do you think staying in Copenhagen Flames, you'd actually be learning more, but like you'd be getting less exposure?
first of all, Flames is good for exposure as well because they are known as creating talents and stuff. But like I feel like I have more time to discover myself as a player, but as myself as well, because I have those confidence things where like I don't really feel confident, and that's outside of the game, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I can develop and learn about myself everywhere, but I would not want to do it under a tier 1 organization.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's for a short period of time. Like if I'm focusing on developing myself, I'm going to do it in a very short time.
Okay.
It's just about prioritizing things. And now that I'm familiar with Flames as org, but also as a lineup, and everybody knows me now, it's so easy to do it.
Yeah, because I guess like for the final question on that point, I can imagine like if you were saying like you have said before like confidence issues when you were like losing now a little bit more, like you're questioning your players. Fuck, like imagine if you sat down and you've got FaZe in front of you and you're like how like this that would be like I can imagine. Do you think that would probably shake you? And then like I know there's been a lot of people who've been called up, like you got Farley and Lucky as prime examples who've been called up and just weren't ready. Like do you think it's just more detrimental to be called up, not be ready, do badly and be like stuck?
Yeah, it's kind of bad that way. It never happened to me in those tier 2 tournaments to be like scared of opponent or like the other sniper. But like yeah, if I would be playing against people, for example, who's my idol, like I would think twice about my game.
So when do you sorry, like I've been trying to move on, but then you keep on saying stuff and I'm like, I want to answer more about this. Like when do you get a lack of confidence then? Like when is it that you struggle with confidence?
I don't know, like after losing games and feeling like I didn't do my best, then maybe a bad practice week as a whole.
Yeah.
Just things like that. Not hitting shots for more than 3 days in a row.
You got like that board on Vertigo where it's like number of days since an accident occurred in T-Spawn. Number of days I've been missing my shots just next to the computer there, like keeping it tally.
Just like scratch onto the wall.
Yeah. I mean, we all know with Regali's tally it wouldn't go on for too long, but okay, so Regali, just nearly done to wrap this one up. You've been amazing, man. Thanks for sticking around with us.
Yeah, cheers, man. Appreciate it.
So you've had some, ex-teammates in the news and players you used to play against as well, stepping up into some teams. Let's start with Maze. He was you didn't play with him for that long in Fnatic Rising, but he was brought into the team, worked as the IGL there. He then went on to the Let Us Cook project, where he played with like Snacks and Friend and Blitz and Sound. And now he's been picked up by Sprout on trial. Refresh has gone into Zyphon's role, and he's let go of IGL, and Maze is going to take over as the IGL. So you're seeing another one of your ex-teammates, making it into the high level or making it into the tier 2, high tier 2, low tier 1.5 space. What are your thoughts on Maze and him getting the chance in Sprout?
I'm happy for him. Like, he was my first IGL, dedicated IGL I played with, and he was good, but he was watching up to Bird from Sky as well back then. He's of course better individual player because he's younger, he's maybe grinding more deathmatch. I don't really know about that, but yeah, he was good. He won with the Fnatic Academy, the we play, so he clearly did something as an IGL. It was easier for me to play the game with him as an IGL, so yeah.
Very and now talking about the big, like it's literally happened, I think, as we were starting recording.
An hour ago?
Yeah, like literally as we started recording. Sirison has been dropped, and he like was, I think people can bash big, but I think Sirison is a solid AWPer. Like he maybe had troubles on LAN, for instance, and I know he there's some like publicy stuff that I don't want to like, I don't think if it's public I don't want to get into it, but hyped, he from the Academy League has come up now. What are your thoughts about that? Because you didn't play with him, but you would have played against him in the Academy Leagues.
I mean, hyped was good in the Academy League, but again, our team wasn't that structured. So, like big Academy back then, it was like 2 steps above us. Like they were so good. So he was being used in a nice way. People had experience to like use him. So I feel like the style of Big Academy and Big as well, it's kind of the same, and he will fit good in the main team.
Okay. I mean, we're actually seeing a lot of growth from academy teams into main rosters. You know, you think about the Miles NXT guys; they're obviously like some of the famous ones. They've started a new project now as well, Regali. I don't know if you've actually seen
so
play at all, like Slend, QQ, Krizen, Nexius, and Yimfat. Now, they are very, very impressive. And, you know, the average age is below 18. Banjo was another one of your ex-teammates who's now joined Havu potentially, or like on trial. So it's just we're seeing like a lot of players stepping up from academy leagues into main teams as well. And we're not seeing as much talent being recycled from regions where it's like it's the older 27, 28-year-old guys who have been around for 5 or 6 years that are now getting the chances. Now they're going to the new talent, which is a lot more sustainable. So just a few words from you, obviously having been through the system itself in terms of academy teams, the role that they play, and how beneficial it is for younger players making their way in their careers.
I mean, now that there's no We Play Academy, from now on, it doesn't really help. But like it helped a lot when I was in the Academy League, because we were like, there were some big names like Monesi, Toji, you know. And the scene was more competitive. Right now, I don't really know how the things are going there. Which tournaments are they playing?
There's the Mistfire ones. They've kind of like taken over. So there's that LAN and like the Mistfire games. They've got a LAN in Norway coming up, and that tends to be like the new academy stuff. So like, wait, is We Play done?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's actually quite big. So I was gonna say like more like the development of players as well. I think what Hayes was poking at, because like obviously I spoke to Cyclone at Cologne about it, and he was saying how like they have a lot of interaction between the main team and the academy team, and like the academy team was practicing like the main team. Was that what you guys were doing on Fnatic Rising? Like, were you, because obviously like you guys were integrating a little bit, like you stood in for them for the RMR qualifiers, and like Banjo was going up and down and stuff like that. What was like, did you find that you guys improved a lot because you were under this like ecosystem of Fnatic?
Yeah, like we improved a lot because our IGL was the analyst of main Fnatic, so he was bringing up ideas. Like I learned how to play, like I learned the basics. Yeah, so it's nice to play in academy and to grind face it, because an academy is like part-time playing. Like at least that's what I was doing. I was playing part-time.
Yeah. Because you were literally at school. Like, I mean, I remember in the interview of Neo, like you were like, my exams were while I was playing with Fnatic.
Yeah.
That must have been like, surely, like that must have been because like you went to school in Denmark, right? And like I know from speaking to people from Denmark, it's like a lot of people know about CS at school in Denmark. Like you were playing for Fnatic and then just walking back into school the next day, being like, "Hey, how are you guys?" Like, were you getting your friends at school being like, "Damn, bro, like this guy plays for Fnatic"?
Yeah, they were yeah, they were like that, yeah.
Well, you know what, Regali, you know, we've been able to speak to you a lot as if you're 5, 6, 7 years into your career here, but you're only 20 years old and now in your first proper team where you're playing full time. It's going to be exciting that you've been able to document a lot of these things early on in your day here and these interviews that you're doing, and then look back on it as you continue to climb your way up the ranks of success, which is no doubt in my mind going to be the case. So super excited to see where your career continues, man. And it's players like you that get people watching the game with your entertaining playstyle. So thank you for joining us for the conversation, man. And super excited to see where you guys take things, and good luck for the RMR as well. And just good to chat and get to pick your mind, man.
Yeah, thank you. It was a nice talk.
See you there, man. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, that was good fun. I'm seriously impressed. That was, I think, one of the best. That was one of my favorite interviews I've done. And oh yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, Hayes, I guess that's us done for the second CCT podcast. The first one has been published for quite a while, so make sure to go check it out. We did that with Beastick. I was over with Brandon. And yeah, stay tuned, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to be doing another one, hopefully with the winners, or just someone from that CCT land that's come up in Malta. But that is all from us. Hayes, have you got any closing remarks for all the people at home?
Well, I was going to say, hopefully, guys, you won't have Freddy's mug on 3 podcasts casts in a row. So I'll see what strings I can pull to make sure that that's not going to happen. But like he says, we will have a lot more content coming your guys' way. I hope that you guys enjoy the conversations. Yeah, we're just trying to add more context to the teams and the players, that compete in the circuits and the series, and give you guys at home an insight into the players' minds as well. So hope that you guys do enjoy the conversations and the content that we put out. But we are going to be bidding you farewell, so make sure to stay tuned for the future content to come through. Enjoy the LAN series, and we'll catch you guys with more casts in the next few days.
I have very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move, one push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Win up to $1 million with your CSGO esports predictions. Simply guess the kill scores of the 10 players in a CSGO match. The more you guess correctly, the bigger the prize. You'll need at least 2 correct predictions to win a prize. Guess all 10 correct and win $1 million. Experience the exciting new way to add a little prosperity when watching esports tournaments. And register now to receive a free entry ticket upon sign-up. Predict kills, win millions, prosper.
Trying to get the skin of your dream for a long time but can't get it in any way? On our website, you have a unique opportunity to get your favorite knife. Users on our site can hand out skins themselves, and participants need to fulfill some simple conditions. For example, watch a video or buy a case on our website. After that, you automatically become a member of the distribution. Go to the user giveaways tab and do what you like. Hellcase,